So there are just a few things that I want to talk about, which is tax, and just a few things that I want to make clear because I don't really know what's going on in the government. I'm not there. I am not managing the money. I don't know anything about how countries can get into trillions of dollars of debt. I mean, I know nothing about money, so if I say things in regards to money, it might be wrong because I don't have the right information, and all the information I have is these Instagram videos where people probably just make up shit that they sound interesting. You know, these videos are full of all sorts of lies and stuff. So I don't know what to believe, and I can't just believe something because the person who made the video believes something, because they could just be believing lies. You know, I had a client that talked to me about how he's involved in kind of money and selling of silver and passing it on, and he seemed to know what he was talking about, but he was saying that there was some way of liquidating. So you can take people that have massive debts, you can sell that debt onto a company, and then they can find a way to liquidate it so that the debt just disappears. And I have no idea what he's saying, because according to me, money is real and it's backed up by something in a bank, and therefore if countries just print out money, all they'll be doing is lowering the value of the money, because how much money a country has should be kind of dependent on the well, the thing is though, it shouldn't be dependent just on the amount of money, amount of gold that you have in the bank. It should be dependent on the skills that your people have. And if you've got a country where lots of people don't want to work and they just start claiming benefits and saying, oh, I can't work because if I work I'll just be paying huge amounts of tax, but if I just say that I don't have any money and I can't get a job, I'll just be getting lots of free money, and therefore they don't see the point in working. You know, if your country's full of people like that, then I feel like it's a false economy, because taxpayers should not be paying for people that just want to be lazy. Even if you have autism, or if you have dyslexia, or if you are just feeling weak, or if you have some sort of condition that's not really explained, but I don't know, like just sweating and feeling exhausted or tired for no reason, you know, you can still work and you can still be forced to work. And it's unfair how places like India and poor countries, you know, that they could have people just living on the streets forced to work, and they could be, you know, all sorts of mental illnesses, and yet they still have to work. And yet in England you can just gain free benefits for doing nothing. You know, I think it's a very unfair system, but at the same time I do think that the Matrix can link souls to mothers that are very similar. So if you're born into a rich country, or if you're born into a parent that has money, can offer you something or can offer you skills, you know, I feel like there's or maybe you were born into a slightly poorer family, but that's because the Matrix or my higher self wanted you to work really hard to try and gain wealth through doing certain things or meeting certain people. You know, there are individuals that I think my higher self is definitely led and guided, but I think on the whole, the average person, you get born into certain countries because the people in the countries are similar to you. Hence, if you're born into a very poor country, you know, I feel like that's because you haven't been human that much, or because of your animal self was kind of living amongst this sort of area, and you're just being reincarnated in a similar area to where you've been in before. You know, there's the Matrix is just lots and lots of data about who you are, who your past life is, who your family was, whether it be bears or animals or humans or something like this, and therefore there is something about being born in a certain country because you're similar to the people around you. I think there might be some things that aren't, when something's different, slightly, not defects, but slight, whatever a word is that's defect without the word defect. But you know, there's cases that aren't following the same rules because of birth disorders or whatever. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, I I just feel like, how can a rich country be in trillions of dollars of debt? Where are they borrowing the money from, and what does borrowing money actually mean? Because if borrowing money just means, can we send a bunch of diggers to look in this certain area for gold, and then we'll take the gold out of your country, and technically we've just bought, because technically I've got a feeling that maybe borrowing money just means that, you've got some sort of currency that's based on gold, and you have the gold, you have some sort of currency that can be traded from country to country, and therefore borrowing money might not actually mean, it would be unfair to say that if say all the people in India are paying tax, and then people are borrowing the tax money off people are making, and then spend it in their own country, I think that would be quite an unfair system, because people shouldn't spend tax money on other people's countries. But then I'm thinking about America and all the money that they've spent on war. Where is this money? Like, what was this actual money spent? Was it made weapons and bombs and stuff like that? Well, yes, probably. But if it was made to buy weapons and bombs, then surely the countries of which the people want the bombs and want to buy this stuff, surely the debt should be with them, because they're the ones that wanted this war. I know sometimes war is troops of people from one country going into the other, and you can't expect the country to pay for that because they don't want it. And if you're the one that's paying for the salaries of the army troops that are in there, I get why it should belong to the country of which the people came from, because but yeah, I think a lot of it is, I think a huge amount of it is weapons. America building bombs and selling it over there. But yeah, I'm confused. If they're selling it over there, surely they're making a profit. Hence, it shouldn't count as, we're giving them trillions of dollars. I mean, if you're giving them something, you should be getting money back from it. And maybe if they've got gold, and we'll say, well, we'll give you give us the gold, and we'll give you the bombs or something. But yeah, this isn't building up the debt of America. Why? Because you're gaining gold from it. So I don't know what is going on, and I would love to talk about it, but I can't talk about it because I don't know what is going on. And I think there's a ton of people that love to believe that they know exactly what's going on, and then they can sort of complain about all the things that are going on, when really all they're doing is complaining about the things that they've heard. And I don't want to be in that same position. I don't want to say a bunch of stuff just for them to be like, oh no, liquidation isn't real, or oh, you can't just be let off a debt. If you've borrowed £200,000 to buy a house, and then 4 years later you've paid off 40,000, and you realize you can't buy any more, you can't take out any more money, and then you just run off to a different country, and that's it. I'm assuming the house that you've bought, the bank is going to try and repossess it, but if they've sold it to someone else in a different name and they can't repossess it because of legal terms, how does things happen? Like, what would happen in that situation? Banks shouldn't be allowed to give out huge amounts of money if they can't guarantee getting it back, because what happens is the bank falls into debt, and then the taxpayer is going to be the one that pays the money for the fault for it. You've given loads of people debt. They've bought houses when other people wanted these houses, and they won because they gave a higher price, but the higher price that they gave wasn't something that was realistically affordable, and then everyone pays for the penalty of it. And because I just have so little trust in people, in the government, in everything, and I don't know what's going on, because I'm just hearing all sorts of rumors and stuff, and I just, there's too many people here. A lot of people don't like the idea of there being some sort of tyrannical government that's ruling and controlling everything, but everyone loves the idea of God controlling everything. But I feel like the idea that God can't control everything, because there's way too many people here, and what's fair and what's not. Is it fair for a person that's legless to be lying on the streets of India begging 24 hours, or trying to sell bags just to make like £2 profit on each bag they sell? Is that fair that they should have to do that all day, every day, even including nights, only to find that maybe someone steals things in the nights because they're living on the streets or something like this? Is that fair, whilst other people are claiming benefits for being autistic and getting £400 a month for doing nothing? Or people like my uncle, I think people like my uncle, it's not really his fault, because I feel like doctors doctors were using him to try and make money out of him because they wanted to get money from the NHS or from the government to try and help look after these mentally ill people. But really, I think they were abusing these mentally ill people by telling them that they were worse than they are, giving them information that would make them feel worse than they are, giving them extra drugs that they didn't actually need, drugs that probably just made them feel dizzy, and then they would do lots of experiments on, or like, well, so how do you feel now? How do you feel with this drug? How do you feel with this drug? And then giving them way too much, all to try and justify having more and more meetings and more, and now he's worse. I would say he's worse, rather than just telling him that he needs to focus on intelligence and getting a job and a stable normality routine. And instead of telling him the basics, I feel like they were telling him things that that would make him worse, and now he has to rely on the government. But I feel like it's kind of the government's fault for allowing this to happen, because the governments were the ones who gave these mentally ill doctors, doctors that serve mentally ill people, but really they probably are mentally, I think everyone's mentally ill. There's so many mentally ill people in this world, including mentally ill doctors. Doctors that serve try and help mentally ill people, but yeah, they've, there's a lot of things that have, it's a big it's a big problem, and I think less people would make it easier to control. And everyone wants God to control, but if they knew that God can't control because there's way too many people, then it's really hard to say what's fair and what's not. Is it fair that people just live off benefits in England whilst England borrows money from other countries and basically puts the debt on the whole nation, even though the people, the reason why the country is falling in more and more debt is because they're allowing all these free benefits and free housing and free all this, and you shouldn't be giving individuals free things. You should think, where is this money coming from? And if this money, thing is though, if the money is just coming from you sending diggers to a certain country, digging up gold and saying, okay, we've taken two tons of gold, that's worth this amount of money, so yeah, we'll give you that money back. If that's how you borrow money off countries, by sending diggers into their country and taking out gold, then if you have to look at it from another perspective, which is, are the villagers that live in these countries, do they really deserve the gold? Did they earn money and then put their tax money into something that's being lended by other countries? Because what does it mean to borrow money from other countries? I guess I need to understand what that means for me to work out if this is a fair system. Because if countries are borrowing money from other countries and then just spending it on allowing people to just lie around the house, complain and be jobless because of, oh, I've got a bad leg and I can't walk properly. Oh, I'm dyslexic, I can't read. I'm dyslexic and I can't read. So there's a million jobs that I can't get because of my disability in enabling to read properly or see words or spell things. I can't work in a taxi firm because I wouldn't be able to write the road names down properly, and the taxis will end up going all over the place. Or I'd probably type in the postcode wrong, and they'd go to a different location. So for me, I could never. There's loads and loads of jobs that I can't get because of my dyslexia. So do I also deserve benefits because of that? I would say yes. There's plenty of people that say, oh, I can't. I've got a bad arm, so I can't do lifting. I can't work in a factory doing things because of my bad arm. There's plenty of people that would say this, and they'll focus on all the things that they can't do, and yet they don't realize that there's a ton of people that are in this situation. Dyslexics can't do anything involving typing and spelling. I'm typing all the time, but I'm making loads of mistakes, and you shouldn't focus on like how your disability negatively affects you. You should focus on using what your skills are to try and get a job, and to think that you could just get benefits for just focusing on all the negative and just saying, I need money, give it to me. I think that's highly unfair if them doing this is actually just borrowing money off other countries. But what does borrowing money off other countries mean? Because if borrowing money off other countries just means sending in gold diggers to go and look in certain areas and then dig out all the gold, weigh it up and say, okay, we've taken this amount of gold from this location in this country. If that's what it means, then it's kind of unfair to think that the people that are just doing nothing in their countries deserve that gold, when it should be the finders that have the gold. So I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't know because I don't have the information, and I've not been told the information, and if I have been told information, it's probably wrong. So but yeah, I would love to have a fair system, and I would love to know, like, who's hard working. I know there are some people that are working 12 hours making clothes, and all they make is a couple of pounds a day. Are they? But then again, there's also a bigger question, which is, do they care about me? I'm God. Are they interested in me? I mean, I'm finding that people in England aren't interested in me. Psychics who have nice homes, just, you could say, oh, I'm God, this is all the reasons why, and this, my name means this, and oh, look at this singer, and I could say so much stuff, and all they could be interested in, so when are you going to send me the money? So when are you going to send me the money? I never said I'd send you money. I just, it's such a big who to help, and why is the government all like in their 60s and 70s? It's like they think that they're smarter and better, but are they? I mean, that's not how it is for me. I don't see it that way. I see some of the younger people being far more on the ball, should I say. And yeah, if the older people, I feel like there's a tendency to want to, people in the government to want to help people that are like them. And well, if you're in your 50s, you'll tend to want to help people that are in your 50s without realizing that people in their 50s bought their houses for like 20,000, and now we have to pay what, $500,000. So why are the average flat in London like £500,000 when like 20 years ago it was like £20,000? This is absolutely insane. People have not made, the average person has not made £500,000. So what is going on? Where is all this money? Why is houses so expensive? Materials have gone up, yes, but not to the extent that they are at. And what laws are they putting in place to make it harder to build, so that the people who sell the houses have to charge higher? I mean, you have to charge at the market rate, but why is the market rate so high? I mean, if money increases over time, then I guess borrowing money off other countries, saying, well, we're taking this much gold out of your country and it's worth this much, so we'll give you this much, but then in 20 years time it turns out that money is nothing, like a house. If it was worth 20,000 back then and it's now worth half a million, but at the same time we're still paying the original figure, how does that affect things? Is that how borrowing money? I don't even know what the term borrowing money. Why would you borrow money and then go and spend it on other countries that haven't got anything to do with the people in your country? I need to have a proper conversation about it, so for me to understand it.